second show, and this is his third time going off-site. And right now it's the practice where you get an hour to play and do the obstacles. So I have two horses here. I have Bling and Arwin. So I'm going to do Arwin first, and I'll show you guys some of the obstacles that we're working on. Last show he was not very good with the curtain and the pool noodles, so we're going to take a look at those things as well as the ball. So let's go take a look at him, and I'll share some tips along the way. All right, so let's take a look at Arwin and some of the obstacles. So this is the carousel, and he did pretty good with this one on the last show as well. But it's just nice to see that this was his first time approaching the carousel and how well that he did that. And you can see Bling's laying down in the background. She's gonna get a cookie for doing a lay down as well in the back there. She's hanging out with one of my co-op students. And so he did that really nicely, really easily. So he's looking really confident. And that's one of the things I'm thinking about bringing with me to the Mustang Challenge. And then here's a look at going into the boat. And that's really good because the last show he did hesitate with that a little bit. And that was his first time seeing that on this journey. And it's in a different location and they had different things in it. So that was really good. So here's a look at the curtain, and you can see that he kind of hides behind me. So he kind of uses my path through the curtain to get through there. So I do want to work on that and get that a little bit better. So here I'm asking him to take his own path and stay beside me rather than go up, like follow directly behind me. So I'm kind of swooshing him with my tail a little bit, not in a mean threatening way, but just kind of in like, hey, like, can you please think about going through? And then I'm offering him the positive reinforcement. So he hesitated with that, so I'm going to try it again. So again, he stops and I kind of insist like, yep, you've got to try your own path. And I like to repeat things with my horses until I know that they're really kind of comfortable with it. So we're going to give that another go, and I just want to make sure that he can kind of see something like that and just move confidently with me through it. I don't mind if they slow down a little bit, but see how he's stopping there and he's really hesitating. I want him to be a little bit braver. And this particular curtain that we're working with is ideal because the curtain is very light material. It's just a shower curtain, so it's not going to hurt him. It's not rough on his face. Some curtains that you do are kind of rough on the horse's face a little bit, and for those ones, those aren't really ideal to practice stuff like this with. So you can see he's still hesitating a little bit, and so now I've progressed to the point where I didn't give him a cookie for that because I'm saying, okay, you've got to try a little bit harder. Can you go through a little bit more smoothly, a little bit more easily in order to earn that cookie? So that time he didn't stall as long, so he earned his cookie there. And then I'm going to leave that there and we'll try it another day. So here's a look at the pool noodles, and when I go through with him, they actually kind of slingshot back on him, but again, he's kind of following behind me. So what I want to do is now get him to a place where he can start to do it without me, and he can be brave and he can go on without me. So we were going to repeat that again, but then that other horse started to work on it and they had trouble with it. So instead I decided to just move on and try this send around. So this was with a giant Hershey's kiss in the middle because it's a Valentine's theme, if you have not already noticed that. And he surprised me that he didn't even like kind of glance at it at all. So I was pretty surprised at that. And the ball, Arwin did really well and just came right up to it and gave it a nice good kick and push. The one thing that you want to be careful about with the balls is you don't want the legs of the horse going over top of the balls. That's not actually super good. So I do want to be cognizant of that and be careful that I make sure he gets really close to the ball because that will prevent him from putting his leg over top. So here's a little look at a tiny little narrow bridge. So he did pretty good. He got his all 4 feet up, but then came off the side. Don't blame him for that. It is really tiny. I think this one's maybe only 12 inches wide. So we're going to try it again, and this time I line him up a lot straighter, so that's a little easier for him. And then he earns his cookie because he managed to walk all the way straight across it. So for him, bridges are typically pretty easy for him, so then it was okay for me to ask him to be a little bit more particular there. So that other horse had finished with the pool noodles, so now we're going back to the pool noodles, and you can see he did that really nicely. And he actually did that a lot better than how I thought it was going to go, because at the first show, when he saw pool noodles for the first time, he was doing them at the end of the show,
and he was decent with them, but it was still not his favorite obstacle. So that was nice to see that he went through pretty confidently. Here he's kind of like, "Are you sure I have to go without you?" And he does it really slowly, but that's okay. He's building up his confidence with that, so I was pretty happy. So here I just wanted to test out his sideways, so we're sidewaysing the mounting block, and you're going to see later that that ends up kind of biting me in the butt a little bit when it comes to his actual show round. But I did it just because it was a taller block, and because we're going to be preparing for the Mustang Challenge, I thought that that would be something good to do. So here, now I'm trying his little send around. And when he came to the last show, he didn't know how to do circles yet, but now he does know how to do circles. So this was, I don't know that I've actually done circles while standing on something. And that is different for horses because you end up being higher up and it does change how it looks to the horse. So I was pretty happy with this here, that he gave me a nice little trot, and decided to finish with a little bit of trying to get him to go sideways towards. So even though I'm not riding him for the competition, I want him to think about, getting himself into that position, and eventually we are going to ride him. So it's helpful if he can handle me being up top. So that's a little look at him ground time before the competition. And that's really all I did to prepare him for the competition. This was a little sideways that I did towards the mailbox and back, which I actually did. This is actually after the competition, but I'm just putting it in here because it's before his round. But that's, he really did quite well. So we're going to take a look at his show round, and you guys can see how he did for that after he finishes doing his little sideways here. And you can see he's still a little bit lack of confident when the other horse comes by there. That's not his favorite thing, is when other horses get too close to him. So I'm going to do this sideways one more time, just so that we can end on a little bit of a better note. And this time the other horse isn't right there, so he sideways off the object really, really easily. And then he earns his cookie. All right, so here we go. We're going off on our competition round. So this is the Gambler's Choice obstacle, and at this particular one, they have you always start with going around the outside of the ring. And this time they gave us a bean bag that we have to try to throw at some cups for points as the first obstacle. So I actually like that they kind of give you that. It's kind of fun. It sets everybody off kind of on the same thing. The reason why I think that they do that and they add this to a lot of obstacle classes is because you run around with your horse, and sometimes that can kind of rev them up a little bit, and then you have to settle and bring your horse back down. So there he did get 4 feet on the bridge, so I think they would have counted that for him, but he did step off, so I'm also not 100% sure on that. And here's a little look at the ball, and he went to try to step over it, so I helped him on the last little part there, but he didn't do anything wrong there. And then here's the I guess it's called a pulley system, and we didn't bother to practice this in the first part just because there wasn't really much of a point with I know he did it really well at the first show, so I didn't want to practice every single little thing before the competition because I wanted to leave some things kind of as a surprise or a little bit new, just because that's what it's going to be like when we go to the Mustang Challenge, is he's not going to get a chance to do them all. And so here, I didn't do my send around very good, and he ends up getting kind of caught up in the thing. But what I like is that he really didn't care. He wasn't upset about that whatsoever at all. And he goes through the pool noodles pretty nicely for me there. And then here, when it comes to doing our circle send around, you can see he gets quite confused, and now he's thinking, do you want me to sideways towards you? And I'm like, no, I want you to go on a circle. And we have a little bit of confusion, and what I think is a big part of the issue is that normally sideways towards him is a cue that's up above him, and I finished with sideways towards me on the last one. So even like there, I did 2 circles with him because I wanted him to end it on a better note. whereas you actually only have to do one circle for that obstacle. But that's just an example of, even though we're technically in a competition, I'm not really here to try to win this class with Arwin today. I want him to do the obstacles really relaxed, really slowly. I want him to be calm and willing for them. That's really the most important thing, is he needs to look really relaxed. There is going to be a trail class when we go to the Mustang Challenge, and so that's going to be really important. And this time he did much better with the ball. He didn't try to put his foot over top of the ball, so that was really good there. I was really happy with that. So we come back to the narrow bridge here, and we give that a try, and this time he did really nicely, walked right across it. Didn't take one step down out of turn, so that was really good. And right through the curtain, so really happy with that. And onto these bridges over here, which I didn't bother to practice in the before practice time, because again, I wanted some things to be a little bit new for him. And it does change things a little bit too when you get into the competition. I'm not particularly nervous for this one because it's a really friendly atmosphere and the stakes aren't very high. But it does change it, when all of those people are standing there watching you, it makes it a little bit different. So sometimes it's good to see, what happens if you take an obstacle that, you think your horse is going to do, but now everybody's watching you. Are they still going to be able to do it? So I wanted to save some things that I was pretty sure would go just fine. But, you never know when people start watching you and the energy changes, and sometimes it can just be a little bit different. So here doing the carousel, he was a little bit lazy, but overall pretty good. And if you watch Bling's video of her doing her round, then you'll see their speeds are very different. And it's not so much that Bling's rushing, it's just he walks very slow and lethargic, and he's kind of like, yeah, we'll get around to it. You can see he's starting to drag behind me a little bit. Kind of like, geez, this obstacle course is going on really long, Mom. 5 minutes is a really long time to do an obstacle course. So it's my job to try to keep a good energy about what's going on. And that I was really happy that he did a full circle there. He didn't get as confused as he did the first time, so that was great.
So I hope you guys enjoyed watching that video. Arwin was a superstar. He did the obstacles really calmly. He didn't end up placing, but I don't really care about that because this was a gambler's choice show, and the objective is to do as many points as possible. And for the Mustang Challenge, which is only a little over a month away, he's got to be calm and relaxed and slow. So as long as he's doing the obstacles and he's trying, that's really all I care about. So I'm super happy with where he's at. I feel like if the Mustang Challenge was tomorrow, he'd probably do a really good job. And we still have a whole month to go. I'm definitely going to have to figure something out with this whole half-shave business going on here. So we're going to try to do that when we're at Pennsylvania for Horse World Expo next week. So I have to watch and see what we do with that. But thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like this video, comment, and tell me what you think of Arwin. I would love to hear what you guys think watching the Mustang training versus the Thoroughbred training. And remember to subscribe to this channel if you don't already. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.